Inside Zambia's most controversial election, what really happened in Chawama? Every election tells a story. But few people ever see how that story is written. From the moment a seat falls vacant to the final announcement of results, an election follows a precise and powerful process. Today, we take you inside the Chawama by-election, not to argue politics, but to dissect the anatomy of an election in Zambia. Good day, viewers. Welcome to another edition of InspirAfrica Official. I'm Nakash. It's been quite a week here, hasn't it? The kind of week that makes you sit back and wonder just how much we really know about what goes on behind closed doors in our democracy. And speaking of closed doors, today we're diving into a story that has sent shockwaves through Zambia's political landscape. Our lead story, inside Zambia's most controversial election, what really happened in Chawama. Picture this. It's election day in Chawama constituency, one of Lusaka's most densely populated and politically volatile areas. The sun hasn't fully risen, but already, thousands of voters are queuing at polling stations, their hopes pinned on the promise of change. The atmosphere is electric, charged with anticipation. But beneath that surface excitement, something darker is stirring. Something that would soon tear apart the very fabric of electoral integrity in this community. What happens when the guardians of democracy become its greatest threat? When the very people entrusted to protect your vote are caught with their hands deep in the ballot box? How does a constituency that woke up believing in the sanctity of their voice go to sleep questioning whether their vote ever mattered at all? This is a story of alleged vote rigging, of presiding officers turned rogue, of ballot papers found in the most unlikely places. It's a story of citizens who fought back, of evidence that couldn't be hidden, and of a political system pushed to its breaking point. What really happened in those polling stations when the doors closed and the counting began? Who orchestrated what some are calling the most brazen attempt at electoral theft in recent Zambian history? And perhaps most importantly, if this could happen in Chawama, could it be happening elsewhere, unseen and unchallenged? The answers, as you're about to discover, are as disturbing as they are revealing about the state of Zambia's democracy. Factual foundation. The revelation came to light on August 15, 2024, during the Chawama parliamentary by-election, a contest that had already been marked by heightened tensions between the ruling United Party for National Development and the opposition Patriotic Front. Chawama, located in Lusaka's southern district, has long been considered a Patriotic Front stronghold. When the seat fell vacant following the death of PF Member of Parliament Tassila Lungu in May 2024, both parties knew this by-election would be more than just filling a vacant seat, it would be a referendum on the government's performance and a test of the opposition's resilience. The UPND fielded Ephraim Mukuka as their candidate, while the PF nominated Martha Mushipe. From the campaign's outset, allegations of intimidation, vote buying, and partisan use of state resources dominated the narrative. But nothing prepared anyone for what would unfold on election day itself. The first signs of trouble emerged around 2 p.m. at Chawama Basic School Polling Station 15B. Electoral Commission of Zambia officials noticed irregularities in the voter register. Names appearing multiple times, addresses that didn't exist, voters who had allegedly already cast their ballots showing up to vote again. By 4:30 p.m., as polling was drawing to a close, monitors from the PF began raising concerns at multiple stations. At Fountain of Life Church Polling Station 22A, party agents reported that the presiding officer, identified as Mr. Joseph Banda, had been seen with pre-marked ballot papers in a back room. When confronted, he claimed they were spoiled ballots being set aside. But the numbers didn't add up. There were far more spoiled ballots than voters who had requested replacements. Then came the discovery that would blow the scandal wide open. At approximately 6:15 p.m., just as vote counting was beginning at Ingambi Compound Community Hall, a polling agent named Chilishi Mwansa noticed something unusual. The presiding officer, Mrs. Grace Firai, kept excusing herself to use the restroom. An unusual pattern that occurred 5 times in 30 minutes. On her 6th trip, Mwansa decided to follow at a discreet distance. What she found would become the smoking gun of the entire controversy. Behind the community hall, near a refuse collection area, Mwansa discovered a plastic bag hidden under cardboard boxes. Inside were 847 ballot papers, all marked in favor of the UPND candidate. The serial numbers matched those assigned to Ingambi polling station 18C, where Mrs. Firai had been working. Within minutes, other polling agents had been alerted. Within an hour, the police had been called. By midnight, 6 presiding officers across Chawama had been taken into custody, and the Electoral Commission had ordered a recount at 14 polling stations. The chain of events had been set in motion, and there was no stopping it now. Direct evidence. The testimony that emerged in the days following the discovery painted a damning picture. Here's what the key figures had to say. Chilishi Mwansa, the polling agent who made the discovery, gave this account to investigators. So, I had been watching Mrs. Firai all day, right? And she seemed, I don't know, nervous? Like, more nervous than a presiding officer should be. So when the counting started and she kept leaving, I had this feeling, you know? Something wasn't right. I waited until she went out again, and I followed. Not too close, but close enough. And then I saw her bend down behind the hall, near where they keep the rubbish bins, and she was doing something with her hands. Pushing something under the boxes. When she went back inside, I went over. My heart was pounding so hard. And when I lifted those boxes and saw that plastic bag, when I opened it and saw all those ballot papers, all marked the same way. I couldn't believe it. I mean, I could believe it, but, you know what I mean? This was real. This was evidence of them trying to steal our votes. Mrs. Grace Firai, the accused presiding officer, initially denied the allegations. Here's an excerpt from her police interview. Investigator, Mrs. Firai, can you explain how 847 ballot papers marked for the UPND candidate ended up in a plastic bag behind the polling station where you were presiding? Firai, I don't know anything about that. I was inside conducting the count. Investigator, you were seen multiple times leaving the counting area and going outside. Why? Firai, I wasn't feeling well. I needed fresh air. Investigator, 6 times in 30 minutes? Firai, I have a medical condition. I get claustrophobic. Investigator, the ballot papers found have serial numbers matching your station. How do you explain that? Firai, long pause, I want to speak to my lawyer. However, 2 days later, Mrs. Firai changed her story. In a confession that shocked the nation, she admitted, yes, I put those ballot papers there. But I didn't do it alone, and I didn't do it willingly. 3 days before the election, I was approached by 2 men. They knew where my children go to school. They knew where my mother lives. They told me I had to help ensure the UPND candidate won, or there would be consequences. They gave me the pre-marked ballots. They told me to replace real ballots with these ones during the count. Make it look natural, they said. A few here, a few there. But when I got there and saw how many people were watching, I panicked. I didn't know what to do. So I hid them. I was going to figure something out later, but the Electoral Commission's Chief Electoral Officer, Brown Casaro, addressed the media on August 17. What happened in Chawama represents, a serious breach of electoral integrity. We have launched a comprehensive investigation involving all 52 polling stations in the constituency. So far, we have identified irregularities at 14 stations, and we have taken decisive action. 6 presiding officers have been suspended pending criminal investigation. We are conducting a full recount under heavy security and independent observation. The people of Chawama deserve to know that their votes count, and we will not rest until the truth is established. Opposition leader and PF President Miles Sampa didn't mince words. This is not just about Chawama. This is about a systematic attempt to undermine democracy in Zambia. We have evidence, hard evidence, of vote rigging, of intimidation, of presiding officers being compromised. And we're supposed to believe this is an isolated incident? No. This is the tip of the iceberg. The UPND knows they are losing support. They know that if free and fair elections were held today, they would lose. So they resort to this. To cheating. To stealing the will of the people. But we will not allow it. We will fight this in court, in the streets, wherever necessary to protect our democracy. The UPND Secretary General, Batuk Amenda, rejected these claims. The PF is a party in decline, desperately trying to stay relevant by manufacturing crises. Yes, there were irregularities in Chawama, irregularities that our electoral system detected and addressed. That's how democracy works. The checks and balances functioned. But to claim this was orchestrated by the UPND? Where's the evidence? Mrs. Fairai says she was threatened, but by whom? She can't say. She won't say. Because it's a convenient excuse to avoid taking responsibility for her own actions. The PF should focus less on conspiracy theories and more on accepting the will of the people. Deeper analysis. The Chawama controversy has exposed deep fissures in Zambia's electoral system and raised fundamental questions about the integrity of the democratic process. Legal experts have weighed in on the implications. Constitutional lawyer Martha Mushalai argues that the case reveals systemic vulnerabilities. What happened in Chawama shouldn't have been possible. The fact that presiding officers could access and manipulate ballot papers shows gaps in our chain of custody protocols. We need biometric verification, real-time monitoring, and harsh penalties for electoral fraud. But others, like political analyst Sishawa, see the issue as more complex. This isn't just about technical fixes. It's about political culture. When elections become zero-sum games where losing means potential persecution, people are incentivized to win by any means. Until we build a democracy where losing doesn't mean losing everything, we'll continue to see these attempts to manipulate results. The controversy has also reignited debates about the Electoral Commission's independence. Critics point out that the Commission's leadership was appointed by the current government, raising questions about whether it can serve as a truly impartial arbiter. International observers from the Southern African Development Community expressed concern in their preliminary report. While we commend the swift response to irregularities in Chawama, we note that similar allegations in other constituencies have not received equal attention. This selective application of scrutiny raises questions about consistency and fairness. The human cost of the controversy cannot be ignored. In Chawama itself, the community remains divided. UPND supporters celebrate what they see as a victory against opposition attempts to discredit the process. PF supporters feel vindicated in their claims of systematic rigging. Trust in institutions has eroded further. Martha Mushalai, the PF candidate, has filed a petition with the Constitutional Court challenging the final results. Even after the recount, which reduced the UPND's margin of victory but still declared Ephraim Mukuka the winner, she maintains the entire process was compromised. How can we trust a recount conducted by the same system that allowed the fraud to happen in the first place? Perhaps most troubling are the unanswered questions that continue to haunt the narrative. Who were the men who allegedly threatened Grace Fairai? Despite her confession, no arrests have been made in connection with these threats. The investigation has stalled, leading to speculation about high-level protection. Why were irregularities only investigated thoroughly at stations where the opposition raised concerns? Several civil society organizations have documented complaints from UPND agents at other stations that were dismissed without investigation. And what about the 847 ballot papers? Forensic analysis confirmed they were genuine ECZ materials. How did they leave the Commission's secure storage? Who had access? These questions remain unanswered. The broader implications extend beyond Chawama. If electoral fraud can be attempted this brazenly in a high-profile by-election with intense scrutiny, what happens in rural constituencies where media attention is limited and oversight is minimal? Dr. Lumba Sianga, a political science professor at the University of Zambia, offers the sobering assessment: Chawama is a warning. It shows that our democratic institutions are fragile. The technical aspects, ballot security, counting procedures, these can be fixed. But the deeper problem is trust. Once citizens stop believing their votes matter, Once they see the system as rigged, democracy itself becomes unsustainable. We're at a dangerous moment. Thank you for watching this edition of InspirAfrica Official. The story of what happened in Chawama is far from over. As the court case proceeds and investigations continue, we'll be here to bring you updates and analysis. This controversy raises questions that every Zambian must grapple with. What kind of democracy do we want? Are we willing to accept the results when our side loses? Can we build institutions strong enough to withstand political pressure? These aren't easy questions, but they're necessary ones. I want to hear from you. What do you think really happened in Chawama? Do you believe our electoral system can be trusted? What reforms do you think are necessary to prevent this from happening again? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Let's have a conversation about the future of democracy in Zambia and across Africa. We'll be back tomorrow with more stories that matter, more investigations that hold power accountable, and more conversations about the Africa we're building together. Until then, stay informed, stay engaged, and remember, your voice matters. Don't let anyone steal it. This is Nakash, signing off. See you tomorrow.